Hello everyone and welcome back to another video on my channel. Today we are going to be doing a presidential election prediction between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. I haven't done one of these in a while, and the political landscape of America has changed a lot with RGB dying as well. RBG, I don't know exactly. But it is a shame, rest in peace. Do I think Trump should be pushing through another Supreme Court nomination? Technically it's his job, but the Republicans stopped Obama doing it 11 months before the election, and right now it's like 50 days towards the election. So I think it's kind of hypocritical to do that. Yes, I agree it's the president's job to do that, but considering they stopped Obama, I don't think they should be stopped. They should be allowing Trump. And that's definitely going to impact some of the Senate races like South Carolina. I'm not saying the Democrats will pick up South Carolina, but it will definitely narrow up the race, as the South Carolina Republican senator said that he wouldn't support it, and if he does support it, obviously that will be him contradicting himself. So yeah, let's just get into this. The Senate map will be very interesting after seeing who comes out in support and who comes out against. I think a senator from Iowa said they would, or in the past said they wouldn't support a nominee, but I'm sure a lot of them will break towards Trump and end up supporting the nominee, because at the end of the day they want a conservative court so they can't contest the election result if it's wrong. When I say they, I mean the Democrats. So these are the usual safe states. I will be putting Alaska in likely, but that's about it. Maybe Mississippi, but actually no, South Carolina, sorry. South Carolina and Alaska I'm putting into the likely column. No, they're not competitive, but I definitely think Biden would drive up the numbers in Democrat support and definitely bring them down. Not too much needs to be said about that. Similarly with Maine, I think it will go to a likely. Hillary won it by a decent margin, but Biden will definitely get above the 5% mark. I could see it going by double digits. While I'm in Maine, I may as well say, no, that will not be enough to flip Maine's 2nd district. I still think that will be lean/likely. It's around 4 or 5 points. I don't think Maine 2nd will go back to the Democrats for a while. Trump has had too big of an impact up here for the swing to go back in favour of Biden, but he will definitely do some progress undoing Trump's gains with all the Obama voters in the Northeast. However, Maine's 2nd district is going to Trump by a pretty safe margin, but it will be decently narrow. Now we'll be doing my patented west to east apart from Maine. So let's start with the state of Nevada. Now, I put this in likely before. I'm actually going to put it in the lean column. I think Nevada will, with the increased Latino support, could help Biden. However, Trump seems to be doing very well, not very well, but better with Latinos, and Biden's doing worse than Hillary did. Granted, Biden's getting more of the white vote, but in a state like Nevada, with the Latinos breaking for Trump, I could definitely see Nevada going to Biden, still going to Biden no matter what. I say about 4% in favor, but I can't quite see it going likely. I could definitely see it maybe going to 5%, but even then, I'd put it in the lean because that is safer. If we look at the polls for Nevada, they always seem to underestimate the Democrats, and Biden is up by 5, and they always seem to underestimate Democrats. However, I still think that come election day it will narrow up, and I'm thinking a lean margin for Nevada. I don't think it will quite stay in that likely column for Joe Biden on election day. Now we come on to the state of Arizona, which I previously did as tilt, and I will be doing again as tilt. I explained this last time. He is doing very well with the John McCain voters, the Mitt Romney voters, all that. Those sort of voters are breaking for Biden. However, I do think, again, with his decreased Latino support, obviously I'm not saying he's losing the Latino vote or anything like that. He's still getting a majority, but obviously it's lower than Hillary, and I think that Arizona will go by tilt margin. It's a very tough state to crack, Arizona, for the Democrats. They haven't got above 46% since I think it's like 20 years ago. So it's a very tough state to crack, and I think, bearing in mind this is a crazy flip, I think it'll be lean margin. I could definitely see it going, tilt margin. I can maybe see it going by 2% tops if everything goes right for him. Him being Biden. But other than that, I think it'll be staying in the tilt column. It's a very tough one to call Arizona now. I previously put it in the lean margin. Despite who wins in the presidential election, Mark Kelly will win the Senate election by a likely margin, maybe even double digits. But Biden, if he does win Arizona, which I do think he will, I think he'll win it by a tilt margin and not much more. If he does, it'll be like Florida for Trump in 2016. It'll be like 1.2% or something, around that margin for the best case. Now we come on to Colorado and New Mexico, and I'll classify the Virginia in these as well. These are sort of three I always label together. They're around the same margin. Virginia is a little bit behind, but Colorado and New Mexico will definitely go by about 13 points, between 11 and 13. Virginia probably 9/10. They're very solid for Virginia. Him being an establishment Democrat, definitely helping in the northeastern voters. He's basically got Virginia locked down. Trump really shouldn't be trying for it. Neither Colorado or New Mexico, really, in my opinion. I think they're locked down for Biden, and honestly, they could be safe next election. If Biden wins and then Kamala Harris is the president, I could definitely see them getting very close or even going safe, if everything goes well. These states, and Arizona are probably going to lean, but that's for another video. So yeah, that's New Mexico, Colorado, and Virginia, putting Joe Biden at 229 and Trump at 126. Now we'll come on to the state of Texas, which I am actually going to put in the lean margin for the Republicans. Now, this will not be it will not be close. It will be relatively close because it's Texas, but it will be probably like 5-6%. The reason I'm putting it in lean is because it's probably between 4 and 6 actually, and I feel safer downgrading the margin rather than upgrading it. Texas, Joe Biden has been putting a lot of ads in Texas. I don't know if that's continued. I'm assuming it has, and it will definitely drive out voters in all the major cities, and it will definitely narrow up the vote. But not this election, Democrats. Not quite this election. Texas will not go blue. Maybe 2024, maybe 2028, but I can guarantee by 2032 Texas will go blue. And that rhymed because it's true. And that rhymed as well. Okay, this is getting weird. I'm moving on. Nebraska second. I could see Biden winning it by a lean/tilt margin. I'm not going to lie, I don't know much about Nebraska second. All I know is it's but not very significant with its one electoral vote, which, bear in mind, could actually break the election. But I do think that Joe Biden will pick it up. Now, the state of Iowa, I think Trump will keep into a likely margin. It won't be safe. It may stick around the same point, but I think it will get closer. It will definitely not drop below the 5% mark, which is contrary to what I'm putting in Ohio. Ohio, I do think, will drop below the 5% mark. I definitely think Joe Biden's appeal to the white workers will definitely help in Ohio, but I don't think he really stands a chance at winning it. I think I've classified Ohio as tilt once, but I'm putting it back to lean. Trump has sort of mitigated some of the damage from some of these states. However, a lot of the other states, the damage is already done. Like Nevada, he's pretty much lost. Minnesota, maybe not, but I'm coming on to that. We'll come on to Georgia as well. Actually, that's one I'm pretty confident putting in the lean margin. I could definitely see Georgia going to the left of Texas, because I think Texas is definitely easier for the Democrats to flip than Georgia, which is really weird. But I could see Georgia go to the right of Texas on the vote. But either way, yes, Joe Biden will not be winning it. Yes, Trump will be winning it, and should they run ads there? Definitely. They need to drive the margin closer, so in 2024 they have a shot at it, but even so, I don't think they will quite pick it up this election. Now we come on to Minnesota, which I have previously also put in the likely column, but now is lean. And Minnesota is getting quite close. I mean, what do the polls say? I haven't actually checked on Minnesota in this polls. Oh, that's Mississippi. I was like, what the hell? I was so like, oh wow, I'm so glad that's not the polls. See, Biden is up by 8.8, and what about Real Clear Politics? 10.2. But even so, I still think it will be closer than what the polls are making out. I think they're overestimating the Democrat support. I do think that Minnesota will be close, and the Senate race will go to the Democrats as well. But I just don't think Joe Biden will quite have that momentum or enthusiasm to get him through to 5%. Because yes, he has enthusiasm from the aspect of people don't like Trump, so they're voting for Biden. But that sort of enthusiasm only goes so far in some of these states, and that's why like states like Nevada and Minnesota won't go likely in this election, in my view, because enthusiasm like that isn't always reliable, and I do think they will be relatively close. Now we'll come on to North Carolina, which is probably the first upset of this video for a lot of you guys, which is giving it to tilt Republicans. The polls here are they have Biden ahead by 1.3, and I believe he's ahead by less than 1% on Real Clear Politics. Yeah, he's up by 0.9. Now, North Carolina is a tough state. Clinton really tried for it. If you take a look at this, Trump 2016. Look, there were points Hillary was winning, points Trump was winning, Hillary was winning, near the end, lost. That's pretty much the story for most states, and it underestimated Republicans by about 2.7% in this state. Now, granted, I do believe that the polls have gotten better, and they are more accurate now. However, I still think they'll be underestimating the might of the Republican support here. Yes, if the Democrats would have fielded candidates in 2 of the congressional districts, they'd have gotten a popular vote in 2018, but you have to remember that was a Democratic wave year, and not many Republicans, as many that will come out for this election, did come out, so we need to remember that. And I do think it'll be close, don't get me wrong, it'll probably be less than 1%, but I do think Trump will edge it out at the end of the day. I do think the Democrats could pick up the Senate seat here. If Biden wins North Carolina, I think the Senate seat is pretty much locked down. But if Trump wins it, it will definitely be a close Senate race. But I do think it will be very close, and it could go either way. Similar to Arizona, both of these states, any tilt states I put up here, could definitely flip either way. Don't think that's set in stone, because honestly, anything can happen in 2020. This is a very weird political landscape we're in right now. Okay, right. New Hampshire. Not too much to say here. It's a very white state, which is why one of the reasons I think it will be almost always a toss-up. But I think it will be lean. I think Biden will be able to break ahead of Trump than what Hillary got. I think that he'll probably get around like 3%. But even so, that's pretty secured for him. It's 4 electoral votes, not too significant. But it'll be definitely a good win for Joe Biden. And now we come on to the 75 electoral votes that decide the election. Of course, including Arizona and North Carolina, but these ones are the big ones, like the Rust Belt in Florida. Now, let's take a look at Florida first, because that's the easiest one to differentiate in my opinion. Senate races, Florida. So, in Real Clear Politics, you see he had a big lead, and it's now narrowed up to a 1.6% lead. And on 538, if we just take a look at Florida, a 2-point lead for Biden. Now, this is probably another upset of the evening, but I'm actually going to give this to Trump as well. I really think his support in Florida is very strong. It's very strong indeed. I don't think Biden will have enough enthusiasm to bring out the voters. It will be very, very close. Like, unbelievably close. And again, the polls in 2016 underestimated Republicans. However, they have got better, so I am taking that into account. And I don't think I can really apply that to Florida because of how the gaps are bigger than in like North Carolina, where it's less than 1%. But it is within the margin of error, and I do think Trump will pick up Florida because he needs to, and he'll be campaigning there a lot. He's got a lot of support there, and I definitely, well, no, not definitely, but I do think that he will only just edge out in the state of Florida. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of hate for Florida going red, but that's my personal opinion, and I guess we'll see on election night. So, yeah, that's what I'm thinking about Florida. Feel free to have your own discussion in the comments about any states I have. Please feel free to contradict me or say you'd rather have done this. I will respond to every comment, by the way, and we'll have a talk in the comments. I respect all of your opinions, and I hope you respect mine as well. Now we come on to the state of Michigan, which I'm actually going to put lean Democrat. I think Michigan could have similar numbers to Minnesota, which may surprise you. I think Trump's base in Michigan is definitely dwindling. And I think that with his ads being pulled out until like voting starts or whatever, I think that's definitely hurt his chances. And the ads Biden campaign have been running have been quite powerful in the state, and I definitely think that Michigan will go to Biden. I don't think it'll quite do in Indiana and go back by big margins, but I could definitely see it going back by about 2% in favour of Joe Biden. The polls are currently have Biden ahead. As you can see, they did narrow up briefly when the Trafalgar group had Trump winning in the state, which was a shock. However, all the other polls have him and he's gaining an advantage again. However, do I think he'll win by a 6.8% margin? No, I'm not comfortable putting it as that. I don't think it'll be quite likely. If he wins it by lean margin this time, I think he definitely could win it. I say he. Any Democrat running could win it by a likely margin next election. However, not in this one. I think it's pretty set in stone for this election. Next, we'll do the state of Florida. But before we do, just take a look at the numbers. Trump is at 248. Joe Biden is at 260. Trump needs to win both of these. Biden needs to win one of these. Now, Pennsylvania is a tough one to characterize. I'm not going to lie to you. The polls, I'll get the polls up for you. But Pennsylvania, fundraising wise, in 2016, they both got the exact same. Well, not the exact same, but Hillary put in a lot of money into Pennsylvania and ended up losing it, which was a big shock. I'm not going to lie. It was a shock. Let's just get Pennsylvania up here as well. Polls have Biden up by 4.5 and 4. I think as of now, I'm going to characterize it as tilt Democrat. I don't think it will be lean. I don't think it will be likely in Pennsylvania. I think despite increased turnout in the east of Pennsylvania and Philadelphia, I still think it will be close. The Trump base will be even more rallied to come out. Yes, the anti-Trump base will come out as well. But again, that enthusiasm only gets you so far. So this is basically the general gist of this. If Biden was an enthusiastic person like Bernie Sanders, I'm not saying be a democratic socialist, I'm saying be as enthuse your voters as like Bernie Sanders could. I think Pennsylvania could go lean, Arizona could go lean, he could win Florida, maybe North Carolina, do better in Texas. I definitely think he could, because again, anti-Trump sentiment only gets you so far. Not enough people will come out to give you those big margins. However, I do think he'll pick up Pennsylvania with that. And another upset for you all, if we just go to the final state of Wisconsin. Oh, sorry. There we go. Wisconsin, which have Biden up by 6 and Biden up by 6.7. Now, this is another upset of the night for you all. Now, just bear in mind, in 2016, Hillary was up by 6.5%. Just bear that in mind. Obviously, again, polls have got better. However, I'm going to give it to Trump by a tilt margin. Now, you're probably going to hate on me for that one the most of all. I respect that. I respect people who disagree with me, but I do think Trump has a real shot at picking up Wisconsin. And I really think he will. I think Biden will need to put way more into Wisconsin. And I think he should just focus on Arizona, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, because Wisconsin will definitely have increased Democrat turnout, increased African American turnout, which will mostly go to the Democrats. However, I still think that Trump could definitely edge it out in the state. I think his support base has grown in Wisconsin with the Biden's support group. I think the riots there that happened recently haven't helped Joe Biden's case, even though he has disavowed them and said they're bad. But even so, I think Trump will pick it up. Again, I'd just like to say, all tilt states are toss-ups, all of them, and they could go either way. This is what I'm predicting as of what I've got in front of me in my data and what I think personally, and this is all subject to change. So anyways, tell me what you guys think about this prediction in the comments. I'm sure I've shocked a bunch of you with Florida and Wisconsin. However, that's my prediction. It does have Joe Biden winning by a decent margin. Not very good, but it's okay. But yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and share this with your mates. Get my channel out there. Thank you guys so much for the recent subscribers. I'm on 23 now. So thank you guys for that. If we get to 100 subs, I may do a giveaway or something, I don't know, just to show my appreciation to you guys. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.